trophy train will be over there in Harold Junction in Queens. They head up into New England. And are we sending Ballou up to New England with it?
Why not? It'd be a good opportunity for him to get home and visit some relatives up there.
That's right. He's been on it ever since it started out, 6 or 8 weeks ago, and I guess he'd want to see it right through to the end, huh?
All right, standing by now at Harold, Long Island, and the Sunnyside Yards are close to them. Wally Ballou.
See it right through to the end, and so I've been very pleased to hear the news, and we'll be looking forward to seeing maybe some relatives as we journey into New England. In the meantime, here at Harold, the trophy train is enjoying one of the largest groups that it is welcomed while here in the New York area. Mr. Gilmore, just how many people have come aboard the train today, do you know?
Today we've had almost 3,500 people come through the Bob and Ray Trophy train since it opened this morning at 8:45.
And of course here in Big Town, the Big Apple, the price has been raised as...
Well, everything has gone up, as you know.
Higher.
We had to jack up the rates, charge people to go through the trophy train just to make ends meet. So
well, they have been paying. It started out, I think it was adults $2.50, children $1.25, but that was weeks ago. It's steadily climbed until now. What are the figures?
$15 for adults, $14.30 for children in hand.
Kind of closed up the gap between the children and the adults. There's very little difference
We
there.
figure that no matter whether they're children in hand or adults, they're people, and they got to pay.
Right.
Everybody else.
Well, has this been received favorably by those who've journeyed some distance, say from New Jersey over here to Harold to see?
We've had some grumbling, of course. People said that it's taking all their money they had planned to use to return home. But as I explained to them, that we're not a red feather service here.
Right.
That we're a trophy train, and if they want to come and see Bob and Ray Iana, they've got to pay through the nose for it.
Well, I think that's probably the feeling that the boys would have themselves.
I'm sure I represent their thinking.
They have nothing to do with setting the price. That comes from organization headquarters.
Certainly.
And it's a board decision. It's not made
I understand it's all
unilaterally.
done by computers.
Yes, I guess it is, based on the population and the business that...
I understand you feed certain information into it, like, we'll say A, we want to make money, and then push button B and
that
tells you how to do it.
how much to charge in order to do it. Well, now, are you going to have the same crew with you when you head up into New England, beginning early tomorrow morning, the same engineer and fireman?
We don't know. We haven't been... We hope to have the same crew. Of course, it would make our chores that much easier, rather than have to change crews at every new community that we arrive in.
Right.
So I don't know. We only can hope for the best in that respect. We leave here tonight at 11 p.m.
Oh, it's tonight. I thought it was tomorrow morning. I've got to get home and pack.
11 p.m. we leave, and then we'll, of course, go across the Hell's Gate Bridge and head up into New England.
I think it'll be the first time a steam engine and a train have gone across the Hell Gate for quite some time.
I understand that it's true that it hasn't gone over that way for a long time, and I imagine we'll have quite a turnout of railroad buffs just to see it go by.
I was noticing a lot of these people are quite curious about the locomotive.
Yes.
This group over there, I guess...
Didn't you have a good time on the trophy train? Well, it cost you a little money. What do you expect?
Apparently they've...
a bunch of crybabies like that.
They don't have enough money to get home.
That's not funny.
Oh, one of them just picked up a huge boulder and threw it through one of the windows of the train.
We'll get one of the Bob and Ray police after you.
I don't know what damage it did. Did it do any damage, Mr. Gilmore?
No, I'm just trying to scare them. Just through one of those cases we're going to throw away.
Oh.
I don't know what that was. I'm concerned about that. You have a few moments. Let me go, and then I'll come right back.
Okay.
Why don't you describe the yard?
In the meantime, I'll describe the panorama that is spread out before me here at Harold Junction in Queens. The sky is quite blue, broken clouds, the sun peeping through. It's not at all a bad day to be outdoors, enjoying the fresh air. The air we expect will be acceptable today. Our sunset tonight will be at 8:29. Tomorrow morning sunrise.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Gilmore.
Do you have your your bag with you? Because I think we're going to up anchor here early today. Rather than wait for 11 o'clock, I think we'll try to shoot for 4 o'clock.
It's only 2 minutes away. Well, I don't have any luggage with me, so I'll have to...
Well, I mean, this crowd is not only unruly, they're mean and hostile.
So you're going to vacate the train now, are you? Close up.
Close it up. Give the signal, the old highball signal to the engineer, and roll out a Harold.
Well, you heard it just as I did, ladies and gentlemen. The trophy train with its Bob and Ray Yanna will be pulling out of Harold here, Harold Junction, just a couple of minutes headed north.
50 seconds.
About 50 seconds.
Minute 50.
Minute and 50 seconds, he says. And so as they get up steam in the locomotive, this is Wally Ballou boarding the train himself. And
maybe you could have somebody forward your clothes to you, Ballou. We got to get out of here.
I'll pick up something when we get out of town.
Bridgeport is our first stop.
Okay, so it's back to the studio. Wally Ballou. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's 24 hours after our last episode now, and the medicine given them by Dr. Leonard Harkins apparently has done its work. Harry's memory has returned, as has Calvin's and as has Pop's. And they quickly made their way back to the town hall in Meredith, New Hampshire, where they're being given a happy greeting by Mary and Greg Marlowe.
Well, good to see all you folks again.
Well, it's certainly good to be back.
It's the funniest thing. We all suffered from amnesia. We haven't had that in ages.
No, we haven't. It's a ploy that our writer uses occasionally.
You know, it was funny. You know, I always thought I was Napoleon there for a little while.
I know, you're walking around with your hand in your coat.
I wish somebody had taken a picture of me so I could see how ridiculous I look.
Yeah, that was some medicine Dr. Harkins gave us, and I called him a little bit ago and told him how much we thanked him.
Oh.
I don't know what it was, but it sure worked.
You know what? It's funny. It has a side action, too, that...
Oh, does? I haven't noticed any.
Yeah, it made me forget to pay the doctor.
Well, it certainly improved your sense of humor, too, Calvin.
Oh, I feel so good to know who I am now, you know.
Now, to get serious for a moment,
well,
Greg, how is the play going?
Some disturbing news about the play. Not about the play, about the reaction to the people here in Meredith.
You mean they haven't been buying tickets the way they should?
Why don't you let him tell us?
Well, what is it, Greg? Tell us. Tell us.
It's just that with all the publicity and the hoopla and all, that we've only managed to sell 5 seats.
5 seats?
And those seats in the balcony.
In the balcony? In the balcony, huh?
So rather than subject my cast to the embarrassment of performing before 5 people seated in a distant balcony, I made arrangements to refund the money and to move from Meredith and head for Ogunquit, Maine, where I think we can do better.
Well, I think possibly that's a good solution, Greg.
Well, isn't that too bad? I wonder why in the world the people here in Meredith didn't buy tickets for Westchester Furioso.
How did the rest of the cast take it, the singers and dancers and musicians?
Well, they understood the predicament we were in. They knew that it wouldn't be good for the morale, so they're going along with the idea.
Uh-huh.
Although I hate to give that money back.
Well, of course you do, but it's only 5 seats. It couldn't be more than $25, Greg.
Well, it's $25 is $25, you know.
Sure it is.
Sure.
Every little 25 mounts up.
Yeah, that's the only part that's sticking sideways as far as I can figure.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if we could... No, I shouldn't do that. I was wondering if we could just go out of town and take the $25. I
don't think that would be a wise thing. The news would travel ahead of us to Ogunquit, and then we'd be in trouble there.
No, Greg, you wouldn't want to do that. That would be very bad. Plus, not only would bad news travel, I think the people would come after us.
Oh, they'd string us up if they ever caught us for doing that.
No doubt. For $5 here in Meredith, they'd really string you up.
Yeah,
no
that's
doubt
right.
about it.
And you'll find, Mr. Barlow, we'll make it up in Ogunquit, because that's a good theater-loving community, and they'll just back the show 100%.
Well, that's my hope. I've had somebody check the Mal Hallett bus, and it's all in good shape. It's tuned. We put in 2 new plugs that we found misfiring. We have new points, a condenser.
I think we're all set to go.
Well, good. We'll leave early in the morning then, will we?
First thing in the morning.
And we'll be opening there on Monday evening.
Hope Monday will open in difficult to say.
Ogunquit, Mr. Marlowe.
How do you say that again?
Ogunquit.
Let me try it.
It's an Indian name.
Ogunquit. How do you spell it, Bob?
Capital O-G-U-N-Q-U-I-T. Ogunquit.
Yeah, that's a side effect you get, you know. You get to pay the doctor his bill.
And so Greg Marlowe, young playwright secretly in love with Mary, tells our friends that the play will open in Ogunquit, Maine on Monday evening. And you want to join us on Monday when we'll hear Mary say,
They told you no soap in Ogunquit?
that's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble What? Word Carr speaking.
All right, somewhere between here and Bridgeport. Come in, please, Wally Ballou.
Gate Bridge some minutes ago, and now, of course, have cleared the Upper Bronx, Pelham Bay, in that area, and following along the coastline route, which will reach Bridgeport as the first stop. We won't stay any length of time. We'll take on fresh water and supplies for the night. I've got to pick up a toothbrush. I think there'll be time for that. And then we'll be rolling northward. Mr. Gilmore?
Yes, sir?
How do things look to you now? Much damage done to the Bob and Ray Yanner in here.
We had a little trouble back there at Harold just before we left. That's why the quick, sudden departure.
Right.
I might point out also in Bridgeport, of course, we'll pick up hay for the crew to sleep on tonight.
Right. And that'll be put in the spare car at the rear of the train.
That's right.
The first place that the train will be stopping to take interested people aboard will be Boston, I guess.
Well, we're going to hesitate as we go through New London so that we can all take a look at Mystic as we go through there and see the whale ship and all, and one thing and another.
Charles W. Morgan.
Yes, that's right. And then we'll be heading right for the first. We were thinking of possibly stopping in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
No, I don't think so.
No.
So we'll be steaming north then. That's the picture from the Bob and Ray Trophy train at this hour, 2 minutes of 5. Wally.
The Kumquat Institute of America invites you to spend another educational session with the idol of the nation's youngsters, Mr. Science. As we look in on the well-equipped modern laboratory today, we see that little Jimmy Schwab is just arriving to watch Mr. Science perform his latest fascinating experiment.
Oh, Jimmy, you're just in time to watch me perform my latest fascinating experiment.
Gosh, all hemlock, that's wonderful, Mr. Science. I was afraid I was going to be late.
Oh?
I had a little trouble walking in these plastic snowshoes you made for me last week. Can't seem to get them off, you know.
Well, you're not supposed to take them off, Jimmy. I molded them to your feet so you wouldn't lose them.
Gosh, that's a Jim Dandy idea, Mr. Science. And I really don't mind at all that I have to sleep standing up.
Well, I'm glad you like your new snowshoes so well, Jimmy, but now it's time to move along to today's experiment.
Prime and Nettles, Mr. Science. What experiment have you planned for today?
Well, today, Jimmy, we're going to prove that wood will float in water.
Glorioski. You mean that just plain everyday wood will float in water?
Well, that's what we're going to try to prove. Now, first, we'll fill up this laboratory receptacle with tap water.
Holy Ned, Mr. Science. That faucet broke right off in your hand. Now you won't be able to turn the water off.
Well, we'll have to get a wrench or something after the show is over. We'll just let it run for the time being. Now, I see that our receptacle is full of water, and we'll try floating some wooden objects on it.
Jumping Jehoshaphat, Mr. Science. What are those wooden objects you have in your hand there?
Oh, those are called toothpicks, Jimmy.
Great day in the morning. Wait till I tell the kids at school that I've seen real toothpicks.
Yes, well, now, you notice that the toothpicks do float in the water.
Wow.
Now, try a little larger wooden object.
Gosh, Mr. Science, that faucet's still running full force over there, and the water's almost up to my knees now.
A little is spilling out over the floor, but we'll mop it up after we go off the air.
Criminy, Mr. Science. Your workbench is starting to float over there. It must be made out of wood, too.
Yes, that's a very good example of the principle that we're trying to prove today.
Gee, the water's almost up to my shoulders down, Mr. Science. I wouldn't complain so much, but it's awfully cold water.
Well, just try not to think about it, Jimmy. Now, next, we're going to try floating this small maple block in this receptacle of water.
Jiminy, is that a real maple block? Wait till I tell you.
Jimmy, where are you, boy? Hold your hand up so I can see you, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy.
Mr. Science has been brought to you by the Kumquat Institute of America.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife, the story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway.
On Friday, Greg Marlowe informed Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin he was canceling the opening of Westchester Furioso in Meredith, New Hampshire for lack of ticket sales, and had accepted a bid for the show from Ogunquit, Maine. As our story opens today, the cast has just completed a run-through rehearsal in Ogunquit, and we hear Greg say,
"Oh, that was just terrific.
Okay,
I mean,
Greg?
that was the best rehearsal I have ever seen."
"Well, thanks very much. The lines really came back to us as we went through
Good
it."
to hear, although, doesn't that indicate something awful usually?
Oh,
Good
you mean that
rehearsal?
old thing about a good rehearsal,
Oh,
a
I
bad
don't
show?
believe in that.
No, I don't either. How was my dancing, Mr. Marlowe? Up to stuff?
Just great. I've never seen you lighter on your feet.
Thanks
I'm so
very much.
delighted with this whole thing here in Ogunquit. The
Yep.
bus went beautifully all the
Yes.
way here from Meredith. I'm really thrilled.
I think the tide has turned for us, Greg, and I think we're in for a stretch of good luck.
Tide is coming in now, did you say?
Well, it's just a figure of speech, Calvin. I mean,
they have pretty high tides up here in Ogunquit.
yeah, and a lot of undertow sometimes, too. You have to be careful of big breakers.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I'm not going to go in the water. It's a little too cold for me right now.
Yeah, a little too early. Better wait till July or August. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Well-
I'll put on my bathing slippers.
How are the ticket sales for tonight's opening, Greg?
Pretty good. Not brisk. I'd say, okay, you know.
Well, because they haven't had much warning. You had to get some fast publicity out.
And I thought maybe I could bring you around town and have you meet the jocks here in Ogunquit, the disc jockeys, that is, and maybe
Sure.
talk about the show, and
Sure.
they could interview you, and would you be
Sure, we'd like
open
to
to
do
that suggestion? Oh, I think that would be fine. Oh, I would be glad to do that, Mr. Marlowe.
Sure. Anything to help the whole company in our one-week stay here.
Well, I don't know about you people, but I've worked up an appetite here by the seashore.
Yeah, me too. I have too.
Nothing like a little salt air to get the old juices going.
Well, we don't have to be back till about 7:30, do we, Greg?
That's right.
I saw a nice-looking restaurant just down the street a little way. Let's all go.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
This is a pretty little town, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very nice.
Not many cars on the street, though.
No, I suppose they're all at the seashore or at the playground or something like that. I'm working. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, will you pay?
This is the place we'll be for. My wife, Mary, myself, Pop,
See
and
that
Calvin.
table down by the window
Yes.
with the paper napkins?
Yes.
That's yours. Take it.
Thanks very much, sir.
Oh, very good.
Hey, this is a pretty nice place.
I'm not crazy about paper napkins, though, you know.
Well,
I remember my daddy saying whenever he saw paper napkins, he always reached for his hat and left.
well,
It was an indication that something was amiss at the
of
restaurant.
course, today we have to cut back on all expenses that we can. I suppose that's one way they save.
I suppose, but, you know, I go along with Mary on that. I don't like paper napkins, especially if you're going to wrestle with fish.
Yes, that's right. And I was thinking about a lobster myself.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's
too.
good seafood they ought
Nice
to have.
cod or something like that. Or nice bluefish, something like that.
Hey, look, there's a trio over there in the corner on a little stage.
Welcome, everybody.
Oh, they must have afternoon
Welcome to
entertainment.
Mom and Pop's Restaurant. We have some wonderful entertainment for you tonight, representing the famous Maine Sound.
Hey, we got to get some of that Maine
Miss
sound.
Celine J. Snyder, for your listening pleasure as you dine on some of the great food here at Mom and Pop's. Celine?
There's nobody finer than Dad, I say.
You folks ready to order now?
I don't think so. My appetite's kind of left me.
I think I'd like to look at the menu a little longer and sap up some of this Maine Sound.
I don't think I'll want anything to eat.
Maybe a glass of water, something like that.
And so our friends' excitement over opening night apparently has taken their appetite away. You want to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
2 minutes to curtain.
that's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
Wherever you are, come in, please, with your walkie-talkie, your Rogers Gibbons equipment. Wally Ballou.
Ballou in Tipton, Indiana, where I'm now standing in the front yard of the world's longest, narrowest house. And the owner of the place is with me, Mr. Woodview Blackmeyer. And I wonder if you'd tell our audience a little about this unusual home of yours, sir.
Well, there's not much to tell, really. In fact, the only unusual thing about it is that it's 23 inches wide and not quite a mile long.
Had you built a house with those dimensions on purpose, I suppose?
Yes, we built the house on purpose. We just bought the lot by mistake, you see. The wife and I saw this ad in the paper for a 10,000 square foot lot that only cost $150.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, it sounded like such a bargain that we bought it sight unseen. And it wasn't until we got here that we found out it was 5,000 feet long and 2 feet wide.
Well, you decided to build a house on the property anyway, right?
Yeah, the more fools we. Would you like to squeeze inside and look around?
Yeah, I'd like to very much. You lead the way. I'm sure we'll have to go Indian file, huh?
Yeah, even our year-old twins can't go side by side without getting wedged in between the walls.
Uh-huh. See, the front door opens right into the kitchen here.
That's right. We had to build the place ourselves because there aren't any thin carpenters in town, you know, and I'm afraid our room arrangement is a little unprofessional here and there.
Well, at least you can tell that this is supposed to be a kitchen, even though you have 4 hot plates lined up over there instead of a stove.
Well, we had a stove originally, but it was so wide that there was no way to get past it into the rest of the house. And you couldn't get the oven door open even if you stood up on the windowsill. Come on, let me show you the rest of the place.
Okay. Wait till I try to climb over the refrigerator without dropping the microphone here.
Listen, I'd appreciate it if you'd slip your shoes off, too. The bedroom is next, and it's so narrow, you have to walk over the beds to get through.
Well, this is quite a bedroom. It must be a block long, isn't it?
Well, we have quite a large family, so we had to allow room for 16 single beds to be placed end to end. Actually, the only trouble with this room is that we had no place to put the closets except in the ceiling. So every time you open a closet door, all your clothes fall down on top of you.
Yeah, well, I'd like to take a look at the rest of the house, but I'm afraid my microphone cord won't reach any further.
Well, there's not too much beyond here. Of course, we're proud of our 400-foot-long picture window in the living room.
Uh-huh.
And you're missing our TV room, which doesn't have a set in it because they don't make picture tubes small enough to fit in the house anymore. And I'd have liked for you to have seen the game room. I think it's the only one in existence where you have to play ping pong sideways off the wall.
Well, maybe we could see all that next time. What's the shortest route to get out of here?
Well, I'd say you're right about in the middle now. The front and back doors are each around about a half mile from here. And no matter how you do it, you've got a brisk 10 to 15-minute walk ahead of you.
Well, don't bother seeing me out then. I'm sure I can't get lost, for there's no possible way to make a wrong turn. Thanks for your hospitality. And this is Wally Ballou in Tipton, Indiana, returning it to Bob and Ray in...
Close in 5 minutes.